Welcome to Almost Here, Round the Corner Future Technology Podcasts with Richard Jacobs. Future technologies poised to transform our lives for better or worse are the focus of this podcast. Almost Here means these technologies are now here and starting to be used, or just around the corner, from Bitcoin to artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.
Coming to Dallas, Texas, September 14th, 15th, and 16th, 2018, the Blockchain and Future Tech Expo. This is going to be a gigantic conference of over 5,000 people. We're going to be talking about blockchain and its applications. We're going to be talking about quantum computing, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and several other future technologies that are poised to and actually changing our lives as we speak. Here's why you should attend. As you may know, early adopters are the ones that investigated and profited from things like the gold rush in the 1800s, from the dot-com boom in the 1990s, from the internet boom in 2005, from the smartphone explosion in 2007, from the real estate boom that ended in 2008, and of course, from the Bitcoin boom that started in 2012. Early adopters act now. They don't wait till later. They go out west first. In their covered wagons, they find the biggest gold nuggets. If you consider yourself an early adopter and you want to find the biggest nuggets, then you owe it to yourself to attend this upcoming conference. Blockchain is going to affect how we control and store our medical data, how we send money around the world, how we bank, and more. But artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and cybersecurity will play a pivotal role in our lives as well. And that's why our next event, September 14th to the 16th at the Dallas Convention Center, is going to have not only 5,000 plus attendees, but will showcase blockchain, AI, cybersecurity, quantum computing, and more. You want to get in on the coming gold rush of future tech and opportunity as an early adopter. Don't be left out. To register, go to bftexpo.com. That's blockchainfuturetechexpo.com. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to the Future Tech Podcast. My name is Alan Thomas. I am here with Oleksii Maliasevich, co-founder of Ambisafe. How are you doing, Oleksii?
Yeah, doing great. I never been on the podcast before, so this is my first time.
Oh, well, it's great having you here. So let's just jump right into it. Tell us about Ambisafe. Tell us about the company and what you guys do.
Ambisafe is on the scene from about the beginning of 2015. And at that time, the company consists only of two people, which is the original founder of Ambisafe, Andrei Zamovsky, and his partner. And at that time, Ambisafe was only a starting company, very small, and they were working on a product which is called Key Server. It's just a secure application for managing Bitcoin wallets. And so Ambisafe had a client, and the client is well known as Tether USD, probably heard about. And so in the middle of 2015, my friend Andrei invited me to work for Tether. And that's how I got into the crypto space. So obviously I heard about Bitcoin before, like way back in, I don't know, maybe 2013, 12, maybe even 11. But yeah, so I started to work in the crypto space in middle of 2015. So that year, 2015, we worked at, so the Tether was the client of Ambisafe, but I was employed by Tether itself because Ambisafe still was a very small company and wasn't able to have many employees. And I worked with other friends in Tether till the end of the year, till the end of 2015. And from that point on, Ambisafe grew a bit. I'd say they were like 6 or 8 people in there at the moment. And Andrei invited me to work in Ambisafe itself and some other of my friends who also been working in Tether before. So I joined the Ambisafe in the beginning of 2016, and from that point on, with the company all my free time. almost all of my free time. Yeah, so at some point of time, my friend decided that me and a couple of other friends who was there in the beginning of the company, that we should all be considered the co-founders and having an equity in the company. So that's how it all started.
Oleksii, what is Ambisafe all about in terms of what it does today? I noticed on your website that the tagline says, "We eat smart contracts for breakfast." So what does that mean? Tell us about that.
It means that from the very beginning of the Ethereum blockchain hitting the live production state, we started to work with smart contracts and getting used to and building different applications and early things that were never done before us. And from that point, we continue to work with the smart contract. So all our applications are somehow related to the smart contracts, if it's not a pure Bitcoin wallet, for example. And the thing is that, for example, we launched the first token contract that we launched. It was the end of 2015 and the beginning of 2016. And it was like the first. It was the first widespread, like wide used token on Ethereum blockchain, because it had like tens of thousands of transfers in the beginning of 2016, and before that nobody really used it. Nobody really made use of tokens on Ethereum, and so we feel it like we kind of pioneered some of the things in the smart contract sphere. And right now we have different products, like we have a crypto wallets to manage assets on Ethereum blockchain. We have this smart contract based matching engine and exchange, which is called Orderbook.io. And also we do lots of custom developments related to the smart contracts, and obviously we do the audits of the smart contracts of other companies, and we did already more than a dozen audits, and everyone seems satisfied with it.
So you guys said that. So you said that you guys are most likely seen as kind of the pioneers in dealing with smart contracts and kind of being in that space.
Yeah. So we are there like from very beginning of the production state of Ethereum, and we never left, and we are always pushing forward. Many of our concepts are like we use many concepts in production which is never used by anyone before us, and it still is not used.
Okay, and I know you said Ambisafe kind of started off as a small group, and it's just kind of growing organically. What would you say is the ultimate goal or ultimate mission of Ambisafe?
The ultimate mission is to make the financial instruments accessible to the whole world, and to make it accessible more easily over time. So we're trying to make it we're trying to make it more easy all the time for the people to use financial services.
And so to try to move them away from traditional banking services or traditional financing services, kind of move them into the next step.
Yeah, because I think that crypto economy is much more friendly to the people than the convenient centralized solutions.
Now, in putting together Ambisafe and putting together your products, what are some of the difficulties that you've encountered in putting this together up to this point?
So the main difficulty for me was that before the Ambisafe, my professional work was related to the testing automation. So I was mostly, for many years, I was writing automated tests for different applications and websites, and was mentoring and teaching people how to do automated tests and how to program and how to do testing in general. But throughout all my life, I was always doing some programming. regularly, mostly for fun and for my own little project. And when I got into Ambisafe, the thing is that I got into the company as a project manager for crypto projects of our clients. But then we needed to change something because we needed our smart contracts to be tested extensively and properly, and all the tests should have been automated. But we had not enough people, and at the beginning of 2016, there was no people in the world who can work with smart contracts, understand them, and write tests for them. Like there were these people, but they were very small amount of them, and they were all already hired, and you cannot just go and find a Solidity specialist in the beginning of 2016. So I needed to. I was put into position when I need to test the smart contracts without having any idea about what the smart contracts is. And in order to do this, to test the smart contracts, you actually need to understand them pretty well if you want to test them properly. So I needed to educate myself, to learn about the smart contracts and how they work and what it's all about. So that's what I started to do. And yeah, so this was a hard process because I was regularly stuck in with the problems that you just cannot Google the solution because nobody stuck with this problem before you. And we mostly used the Gitter Solidity channel in order to talk with other pioneers in the technology talking to the developers of the core developers of the Ethereum and Solidity itself in order to solve the problems that we were facing, and reporting the bugs to the Solidity compiler itself because we stumbled upon some problems on our live productions based on the bugs in the programming language itself. So yeah, the process of educating myself in this space and getting to the level of understanding and comprehension I have right now was probably one of the big struggles and hardships of my life.
You were expected to become an expert or in something that was so new there weren't even other resources to really just go to quickly. So you just kind of had to figure out through trial and error whether you were on the right track.
Yeah, the true. And the trial and error is the exact correct term because it was like I wrote the smart contract, I wrote the test for it, I knew how it works, and I know that it should work properly. But then our client on the production environment stumbled upon some problem. I'm starting to investigate it. Then I'm starting to try to reproduce it, and they literally fighting with the compiler for hours, like maybe 4 hours, 6 hours, and because I never have this triggered like this thought in my mind that maybe the problem is not with my code, but the problem with the programming language itself or the compiler. And so in the end, I'm starting to think like, oh, I forgot to check. Maybe it's a problem with the compiler, and then it is. And it's a relief, and at the same time, it's a disappointment because you spend so much time thinking that your code is wrong, but in fact, your code was okay. And but in the end, it's fun.
So we've talked about some of the difficulties, and they sound like major difficulties in trying to learn smart contracts. But what would you say are some of the main achievements that you had over the past few years working with Ambisafes?
Yes, I think my main achievement, and that I feel like an achievement to myself, besides the different smart contracts and pieces of software that I built here, is that we have one of our core products is the token platform. The platform is used to create tokens for all our clients, and at this point of time, there is already almost 700,000 transactions made within our platform by the users, and there is like more than 300,000 users using it. And this is all based on the smart contracts, which were written by me from scratch. And yeah, I feel this is an impact. People are using it and it works.
Now, in terms of the application of smart contracts, are we tend a lot of times we tend to think about financial transactions mostly right off the bat, but they can be used for more than just financial transactions, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of our clients is the company called Chronicled, and their idea was, at least at the beginning, I don't really know what are their plans as of right now, but at some point, I think in the fall 2016, we've been working together, and they were building we've been actually building together an open registry for the open registry of things. And it doesn't really mean the Internet of Things, not this term. So the idea was to stop or to make it really hard to make fake products. So the idea was to put a microchip with the private key inside of every valuable thing. And the original idea was to put the microchips inside of the pairs of shoes, especially from the famous brands. And the idea was that a manufacturer who creates the shoes also puts the microchips inside of them, and the microchips cannot be altered or private keys cannot be taken from them. They can only be destroyed or read. And so the manufacturer puts the chip inside and puts the public key from the chip on the blockchain, on Ethereum blockchain inside of the smart contract. And from that point on, when some customer buys this pair of shoes, the customer can, with their smartphone, can just check if this particular pair of shoes is an authentic thing from the particular manufacturer. So they were want to fight the fake products in this way. And I thought at the time, it's a like really useful use case for people, because people usually hate fakes and they want to receive authentic products, and that's just a perfect way of doing it. I'm not sure about the scalability of the solution, because obviously you need to store lots of data on the blockchain, but the idea, I like the idea. And yes, so we built the smart contract for this registry, and we built the blockchain explorer for it. We built the SDK for integrating the registry into a different software. And yeah, but I don't know the state of the project as of now. Been not really following it.
This would definitely go a long way to cutting out fakes and bootlegging, though. Like you said, if once it is set up. Now let's talk about the roadmap for Ambisafe itself. What does the roadmap for the company look like for the next year or two?
One of the things is that we are working a lot. So at least half of the company is working hard on the order book IO, because it's a big product, and it's we put lots of work in it, and me myself too, because the matching engine of the exchange is all made on the smart contracts, and it's very advanced. I don't know if, like, as far as I know, there is no other matching engines on the blockchain as much advanced as ours, but maybe I just don't know, though I'm pretty sure about it. And we put lots of new concepts in it, and we are trying hard to be compliant with regulations of different countries, and in particular United States, so that people from United States can also legally participate in the crowd sales and buy securities, and so that we can issue securities on the blockchain. One big thing that we will continue to work on, we have a plan to continue to work on and improve over time and make it big, is the order book IO, and it's we want to have it widespread and use it across the world. The other thing is we are still putting lots of effort into custom developments for our clients and for the organizing and making the ICOs and token sales. And we are trying to make this process more transparent and more robust and flexible and easily setupable. And so at the moment, this is our main directions.
And so do you think that the regulations that affect the use of smart contracts, is there a time where they'll become stable enough where smart contracts can be used widespread, as you said?
I hope so, and we are working in this direction. I cannot say that I like I don't like with my heart the idea that smart contracts need to comply with any regulations at all, but we have to, in order in order for the customers to have easy access into our platforms. But I hope that in the future, the more farther we go in the future, the less regulations will be able to affect the freedom of the smart contracts.
And if I was a company or individual or institution wanting to get started with Ambisafe, what would my first few days engaging with Ambisafe look like? What would that would it start with some kind of evaluation or a consult or something like that?
Probably you will be talking with the sales, probably for one day at least, and the sales and the legal team will be evaluating you and your project. And after that, you'll be directed to the product specialists who will help you to shape the idea about your product and the ways how we can help you with it. And further on, if you will like the interaction, then that will be not 2 days. That will be sometime later after these 2 days. After that, you'll be able to talk with architects about possibly me or some other employees from Ambisafe about the exact architecture of the project and what parts need to be done, how much time will it take, with much precision.
So let's say a client comes to you and they have a lot of wild ideas about how they want to use this and what they want to do with it. Are there any developments that you've heard of where they may seem a little bit too ambitious to do today or even a year or two from now? Maybe it's something that could be done 5 years or 10 years out. Something like that, where it's just like, well, the technology just isn't to that point yet.
Yeah, so we had even so in the beginning, I think in the summer or not summer, when it was maybe it was the spring of 2017, and who wanted to. He already had a working business, and he wanted to to speed it up the growth rate of the business and make it more widespread, more people into it. And they wanted to make an ICO for that. And they wanted, in order to make an ICO, they wanted to introduce the blockchain inside of their business. And while talking to them through many hours, we actually we persuaded them that it's not a good idea for their business to get blockchain, because the blockchain is really not needed there, and the money that they would spend on the making the ICO itself can be better used for the growth of the business. So to just put it back into the business and use it to get more people into it. And they were pretty surprised about that, because we kind of said, guys, you don't need our help, just continue your own work. And they were surprised that we were not trying to just sell them what they don't really need. And so there is also, when some client says that they want hundreds of thousands of transactions per second, and they want this all on blockchain, we obviously also tell them that the technology is not there yet. But some of them decided to start with something that will work, and then with the technology evolving to move to more scalable solutions. But there is obviously cases when the blockchain is just plainly not needed, or is not really well suitable at the moment, and we are trying to communicate this to our clients.
Okay, and Oleksii, what would you say your final thoughts for our listeners would be? What is the big takeaway that you would want our listeners to get out of the interview?
I'd say for some time already, I'm thinking about that. People should learn the technology that they use. And the more they use the technology, the more they should learn about it, and not just trust it or use it on very high abstract level. I really want the people to think about it and understand, and to educate themselves. And I think in this way, the space will be more secure, more safe for everyone, and will improve faster and to higher altitudes.
Yeah, you're right. It does sound like if we were to get a better understanding of all these different applications that we use just on a day-to-day basis, maybe it would be easier to keep them secure, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Security is just the first line that will improve considerably when people start to educate themselves more.
And so, Oleksii, what's the best way for our listeners to get in touch with you or get in touch with Ambisafe? What's the best way for them to engage with you?
They should just open the ambisafe.com, and we have a live chat there, so they can just send a message. And if somebody does not respond to them the same second, they will get a response in less than 24 hours for sure, and we'll have some, if they want a call or want to talk about their project, it can be scheduled quickly.
Okay, great. Well, Oleksii, I want to thank you for coming on to the podcast and giving us this interview, and we thank you for your time and your expertise.
You're absolutely welcome. I had a great time.
Coming to Dallas, Texas, September 14th, 15th, and 16th, 2018, the Blockchain and Future Tech Expo. This is going to be a gigantic conference of over 5,000 people. We're going to be talking about blockchain and its applications. We're going to be talking about quantum computing, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and several other future technologies that are poised to and actually changing our lives as we speak. Here's why you should attend. As you may know, early adopters are the ones that investigated and profited from things like the gold rush in the 1800s, from the dot-com boom in the 1990s, from the internet boom in 2005, from the smartphone explosion in 2007, from the real estate boom that ended in 2008, and of course, from the Bitcoin boom that started in 2012. Early adopters act now. They don't wait till later. They go out west first. In their covered wagons, they find the biggest gold nuggets. If you consider yourself an early adopter and you want to find the biggest nuggets, then you owe it to yourself to attend this upcoming conference. Blockchain is going to affect how we control and store our medical data, how we send money around the world, how we bank, and more. But artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and cybersecurity will play a pivotal role in our lives as well. And that's why our next event, September 14th to the 16th at the Dallas Convention Center, is going to have not only 5,000 plus attendees, but will showcase blockchain, AI, cybersecurity, quantum computing, and more. You want to get in on the coming gold rush of future tech and opportunity as an early adopter. Don't be left out. To register, go to bftexpo.com. That's blockchain future tech expo.com. Thank you. You have been listening to Almost Here, Around the Corner Future Technology podcast with Richard Jacobs. Subscribe to this podcast, post a review to discover more future technologies that are poised to transform our lives for better or worse, such as Bitcoin, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.